All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope we had a fantastic day. You can just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And if you're excited for this session. All right. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, Usman. Thank you so much, guys. So we're about starting the session now. Again, this session is one of our webinar series. So it's something that we started quite some time now. As a center, we thought of the fact that passing ICAN exam goes beyond what is being discussed in class, right? Those little things, those useful tips, those strategies, those planning strategies before the exam, even during preparations and all of that. And that's why we thought of having series like this, right? So welcome you once again, guys. For this session, I'll be your host. My name is Isaiah, and I'll be joined by Kato, who is the key speaker for this session. So in this session, like I said, we're going to just pick up from what we started last time. So remember the last session we had was focused on passing the ICAN exam, cracking the ICAN exam in the first attempt. So in this session, we are focused on people that have made several attempts in passing the ICAN exam and they have not been successful in doing that. So we are going to look at key strategies you can use if you're in that category. And of course, if you have not really experienced that sort of setback, you can of course still get one or two things from this session. So again, let's stay glued to our gadgets and try to pay attention. The rule of the room remains the same. Please try not to unmute when you don't intend speaking. In fact, I would say if you have questions during the session, it's advisable you just drop it on the chat box. And of course, we are going to try to provide response for that. But again, if we end up not providing response during the session, it's something we can obviously pick after the session to just give everyone opportunity to ask their question. Okay. Um, Kato, I don't know if you are set.
Yes, Isaiah, I'm set. Can you hear me?
All right, we can hear you, Kato. You can shoot. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Isaiah. Um, you share my screen shortly. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay.
Um, yeah, please confirm that you can see my screen. It should be up now.
Yes, we can
All
see it
right.
clearly, Kato. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session. Uh, Even though Isaiah had mentioned and the topic said practical strategies to pass your ICAN exams after previous attempts. Yes, the strategies will apply to those set of people, and like you rightly mentioned, it will not just apply to only those people. It will apply to everyone preparing for the ICAN exams. Everyone wants preparing for the ICAN exams, want to pass the exam, you know, with one attempt or with as few attempts as possible. So these strategies, their strategies will help, especially now that we are gearing towards the examination dates, right? So once again, welcome. My name is Kato, as the guy has rightly introduced, and really, it's a session that everyone on the course should be able to benefit. And even if you're not here and you get to listen to this, it should benefit you. All right. So breaking the cycle of ICAN exam failure. At NPT, we want to see our student pass and we want to see you do that consistently. So you're welcome to the session. Without wasting much of your time, we will go into it and we'll run through it very quickly. So you're welcome. We've introduced the topic, and I want you to know that failure is common. It is only someone who has not done anything that has not failed. and more so for ICAN. Failing ICAN is very common. More often than not, you find students who pass through or professionals who pass through the ICAN examination journey experience one form of failure or the other. But we really don't want to call this failure in actual sense because you just get to have other opportunities to learn, to develop competencies in those subjects that you got a feedback, a negative feedback. So you wrote the exams and you got negative feedback. So those kind of feedbacks are very common. Okay, so don't feel bad, don't feel anything. A lot of us have been through. We were in that shoe. Okay, so it's very normal. But if you stay stuck there, if you fail or you get that negative feedback, and you decide that, oh, this has become my reality, then that is where the problem is. Okay. So get ready to move past beyond that failure that you had experienced and just see it as, an opportunity to try again and do things much better. All right. So the reality of ICANN examination failure, the
Excuse
pass
me,
rates
Kato,
have
before
been
you
very low.
proceed, can you use the
Okay.
host control just to some videos and are on? Thank you.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. All right. Please, let's as much as possible turn off videos because it's going to really, really, really disrupt our processes. So let's turn off our videos. Let's turn off our mics. Um, Turn off videos. Turn off your mics. Sorry for that short break. So when the time comes to unmute yourself or turn on your video, we will let you do that. But we have some little limitations. So please, for now, let's stay muted and keep your videos off so that we will have a seamless conversation. Okay. So thank you once again. All right. So let me know if you can see my screen back on again. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so let's go on. So we've mentioned that the pass rate is low, usually low. You find several people experiencing one form of failure or the other. But what do you do? Exam focus, the ICANN exam test. It tests your knowledge, how well you've understood the concepts, the subject matter. Okay, it also tests your application. So when you understand these things, how do you apply it? So it gives you scenarios, give you opportunities to test how you will apply those things to real life scenarios. Okay, and it also tests your speed. The exam will usually be high pressured, time pressured. You're expected to demonstrate, you know, a bulky syllable, a bulky structure in within 3 hours. That is quite time pressure, right? Even in real sense, in real life, you might not have to work under that kind of pressure. But ICANN exam does that. So it tests your speed. So when you're in the exam, what do? You work with speed, you have the knowledge, you're able to apply it, and then you're able to do that very, very fast. Okay. Why students keep failing the root causes. What are the reasons why students keep failing ICANN examination? One is poor study strategy. Students generally have a very, very poor study strategy. Okay, please um, mute yourself, Jacinta. We might not be able to be going in and out on you people, so you don't give us distractions. Okay. All right. So poor study strategy. Students usually have a very poor study strategy. You don't plan for your study. You just study haphazardly. Today you are reading one subject, and maybe you just get bored and you're on to another. You are here, no there, and you're just scattered. There's no really there's no plan. So if you don't plan to pass the ICANN exam, you don't plan to study, you will not be able to succeed. So it's very, very important you have a study strategy. We'll look at some of the strategies, that would work very soon. We also have lack of exam technique. All of your study, you would need to demonstrate them during the examination. And what are your techniques? What things have you put in place to ensure that you succeed, that your 3 hours counts? Because you have just 3 hours to demonstrate your knowledge, to apply and that is the speed. 3 hours. How do you do that? Okay. What are the technique that you would have learned to apply during the exam? You also have the inconsistent preparation. This cannot be stressed enough. Okay. You don't have um, a concentrated study plan. You study today, maybe you say, oh, I'm doing just 2 subjects. You read on Saturday, and the next time you will read is the coming week Friday, and everything you've been studying is just not sticking, it's just not staying. It is flying out the window. Your study, your preparation is inconsistent. You will need to study. We'll look at some of the strategies anyways as we move further into it. You will need to study, you will need to review past questions. You need to solve them. You need to practice time and give yourself very short intervals to study and redo. You practice the exercises that you would have studied. Then over reliance on cramming. Another costly mistake that students make is that they cram. The ICAN syllabus take test knowledge, like we've mentioned earlier, not cramming. It is, I don't find it practically possible for someone to cram the syllabus at any level and go and pass. When I'm talking of, subject with 100 pages or 200 pages, talking of subject with 600 pages, 700, 500, 400 plus pages, and a situation where you're taking about 4 subject at in a level, it is very difficult to cram. And you may try to, but what happens when you get to the exams with so many things crammed? And if maybe the first question does not even come from the area where your cramming started from, and you are lost. The entire flow is lost. But if it is knowledge, you will always be able to recall it because knowledge is within. Cramming is somewhere that you don't really have much control over. So avoid cramming as much as possible. Also, weak understanding. One root cause of weak understanding is reliance on cramming. So when you rely so much on cramming, your understanding becomes shallow. And how do you ensure that you understand subjects? You don't just read it, you study them. After you study, what do? You practice questions. So very, very important to study, practice questions, and gain strong understanding and reduce over reliance on very, very weak methods. So the failure cycle is very simple. Students fail, then they panic because we are looking at persons who might have failed at one point. You fail, then you panic. Oh, this icon is so difficult. Can I even do it? I have tried. This is my second time of failing PM. I think this is not for me. Icon is not for me. I should just quit. I should just stop trying. And you go there when the next diet starts. You already told yourself you will not try. Then somewhere maybe you remember somewhere along the diet you remember that, oh, okay, the reason why I started was because I needed to improve my qualification and gain some promotion or something or change jobs. And then you come back, then you start cramming. You cram, you go to the exam, then you fail again, and the process continues. All right. So these are the root causes. Let's see what we need to do. So as individuals praying for ICAN, students who want to succeed, you need to have a shift of your mindset, a strong mindset shift. One, this time around, you don't just read. If you have a novel, you can read it, and that will be fine. This time around, you study. You move from I read a lot to solving questions. One way to test your understanding of any subject that you have studied is to answer questions on that subject. So when you answer questions, we have past questions. I can have several past questions, and we've also compiled several of them, making it very easy for you to assess them based on topics. Utilize those things. So don't just read, answer questions. and time yourself as you answer questions daily. You begin to develop, a timing for every question that you choose to answer. Okay, then you become what? Exam ready. From I hope to pass. You no longer hoping that, oh, you will pass. If I go into this exam hall, will I pass? Remove fear. So you are removing fear from your mind and telling yourself, I am what? Exam ready. See, most times the ICAN exam paper is passed by the mindset you've studied. Now you've gone into the exam hall. What mindset do you have? I am exam ready. So you are going in there, you've prepared for so long, go in there, go with a very strong mindset, go hopeful, and you pass, right? Gain control, remove fear, eliminate all forms of fear, and take control. Look, everyone preparing for this exam, you can look at them and say, oh, they are doing so well, they are so brilliant, they are so smart. It's not true. Sometimes it is confident, but of course, it's not true that anyone is smarter than you. These are concepts that everyone can understand. So when you prepare for it, tell yourself you can do it and you are going to do it. Take control and eliminate fear from your formula. Okay, very important. There's some of the strategies we'll be exploring. One, we have the first strategy: study smart, not just hard. Sometimes students spend a lot of time studying so hard. I spend 6, 7 hours per day studying. I don't rest. Why am I not passing the ICAN? I don't even sleep. Once I get back from work, I start studying. I study, I study. It's not like I don't study. But when I go in there, the marks I see, they are so discouraging. Study smart. Move from studying hard to studying smart. Focus on high yield topics. So, all right. So, even if I will try to be as gentle as possible with this point, it is worth making. The ICAN exam, whether you like it or not, the subjects are not the same. I mean, the topics rather are not the same. If you look at some subjects, you will discover that some topics are tested much more frequently. Those are your high impact topics. We have analyzed those for you, and they're available. Focus on those kind of topics. It doesn't mean you will ignore the other ones because ICANN can come from anywhere. But what are the chances? The chances that those high yield topics will be tested are almost 70 to 30. Right? So you study them, understand them. I always tell my students, some students do reach out and I tell them, look, if you are going into PM exam hall, for example, there are some topics I always tell them, don't go into the exam without understanding them. Those that have reached out, those that have spoken one-on-one before the exams, they will testify. Don't go into the exam without having a strong understanding of this subject. If you're going in for FR, you don't go into FR and you don't understand group account. You don't understand publish account. Those highly tested topics that no matter what happens, you'll find them somewhere. Even if it's not a compulsory question, they'll be somewhere. Don't go into the exam without. So those are your high yield topics. Focus on them. Use ICANN syllabus as a guide. ICANN also have, this weighting that it does for each subject. Use that as a guide to tell you, oh, this subject is so weighty. It is more likely come. And if it comes, it will carry marks, right? So you focus on them and also use it as a guide to study. Break subject into chunks. Break subject into little chunks. So when you carry subjects, try to classify them. Oh, there are some topics that go together. Try to classify them, study them. Some parts are notes and they also flow together. Classify them, study them, practice questions based on how the topics relate to each other. Okay. Strategy 2: master past questions. We cannot emphasize this enough. I don't want to tell you some things so that you will just stop and go and focus on practice questions. But I've gone into some ICANN exams, though at 8 years levels anyway, because I started from 8 years, and I've gone into some exams where I only read past questions and I presented myself for those exams, and luckily I passed. Of course, it's not necessarily luck per se. This is beyond luck, right? So the questions are what you'll be tested. So if you answer the questions, what questions does is that as you practice them, they send you back to areas that you're unable to attempt them reasonably. So it helps you to quickly focus on where you are weak, and you can quickly study them instead of studying everything, especially where when you're getting very close to the exams. Okay. So practice at least 5 to 10 years of past examination questions. Very, very important. If you the least should be 5 years. You should understand. I'll say to students or to those preparing, look, at least the last 5 years. That's the minimum. You should have answered every question in the last 5 years on the subject that you are presenting yourself for the exam. Now, it's not just answering, it is studying them, practice them, understand them. Okay. Also, the examiner's report. If you look at the pathfinders, the examiner usually provides reports, okay, detailing how students performed, the areas that they missed, the some key competencies that were tested and students ignored. That will help you to, to realize or identify some competencies when you see similar questions in your own exams, and you'll be able to answer the questions based on the examiner's expectation. I always tell students that every question has an expectation. What is the examiner expecting? Sometimes you see a question that says, oh, list so stuff, and the marks allotted are just 3 marks. Now, what happens? You are saying list six, and you're saying 3 marks because you know what is asking you to list. Explaining those 6 things you listed. It's just 3 marks. It couldn't be more than simply listing, right? But when you now say, oh, list four, and you are saying 8 marks, you don't just list one, two, three, and way, right? So, but you will get this when you read the examiner's report. But also time management. You will not be able to do well in ICAN exams if you are not able to manage your time very well. So time management is the key. Don't spend too much time answering a particular question because you know it. Even if you know it, it's just 20 marks or it's 16 marks or at best 30 marks. So imagine spending half of your time on a 30-mark question out of 100 marks, right? So that doesn't make sense. So time when you spend considerable time on a question, move. Usually, every 1 mark in the ICAN 3 hours question should not take you more than 1 minute, 1 minute, 1.8 minutes, 1.8 minutes, right? So you do the maths, right? That will give you about 3 hours for a 100-mark question, okay? So don't spend too much time on questions. Always be very brief as the requirement for the question or the mark allotted allows you. Okay, strategically view time technique. Okay, time management. We've talked about that. Answer structure. Always organize your answers clearly to meet the examiner's expectation. Examiners have an expectation, so always organize your questions in a way that meets the examiner's expectation. Work, show your workings clearly. Questions that require you to show workings, always show them. Usually preferable to show your workings immediately below the answer to your questions. And they should be clearly, don't cancel anything there that doesn't need canceling so that the examiner can always refer to them to see where your answers are coming from. All right. Also strategy 4, consistency over intensity. Study daily. It is better to study 2 hours every day than to wait every three days to be studying 8 hours. If you're studying every 3 days for 8 hours, you won't be getting as much benefit from that than when you study 2 hours daily. You revise, you study the same thing, you go back, you revise, you study, you revise, you study. It gives you a much balanced understanding. Avoid last minute rush. Use a study timetable that works for you. You understand your schedule, you understand your work demand, and then your study schedule. Do a timetable that aligns specifically with that. Okay. Strategy 5, use support systems. Join study groups. Okay. So this is very important because sometimes when you feel like you are alone, you are exhausted and you are tired, a group, a peer, someone who is doing what you are doing with you can serve as a source of encouragement. I was lucky to do my ICAN when I was still in school. So a lot of times we see, guys, you say ourselves studying and you just can't go and sleep when people are studying, right? So join the study group and it will help. The MPT, already has something very similar with the bodies and all of that helps you that. Ask questions early. When you encounter challenges with your study, ask questions as soon as possible and get clarification. You can ask questions can ask anybody, people pairing with you, you can ask them, you can ask your tutors, you can ask anybody you feel that will be able to provide answers to this. Learn from others, speak, get to learn what strategies have worked for others who have been through this journey, who have passed the exams, and I can assure you success is much closer to you than you imagine. Strategy six, get guidance, much like that, experience tutors. So sometimes the good news, I believe, for a majority of you who are active on the call, you have study centers. MPT is there, or any other reputable center. Okay, so you study. It helps a lot. What experienced tutors do is that they the time you would have spent trying to understand a concept, they will explain it to you in 1 hour, and that is the benefit of having a guide that really works. Okay, mentorship, seek mentorship. All right, people who have been through it, people who have understood it, they will guide you. They may not necessarily be teaching you, lecturing you, right, but they will guide you, tell you things to do, the do's and the don'ts of ICAN, and they also serve as motivators. Okay, people who motivate you to go on and succeed. Okay, performance feedback. Now try to get feedbacks. Sometimes it might be difficult to do this, especially, oh, yeah, I'm preparing for exams, I've not been written it. But how do you do that? Solve questions. So when you solve questions, when you practice questions, sometimes you can reach out to a colleague, to a tutor, to a guide, to anyone that is, reasonable, is knowledgeable enough to answer your question, to see what you have done and provide a feedback. Oh, a simple, okay, I can see you've answered the question very well, but your answer was not having a heading. That could be a point for you. So you put headings, structure, organize, and they will just give you those feedbacks, and they go a long way in helping you in having a much better presentation in your exams next time when you eventually encounter the exam. I also have strategy seven: simulate the exam. This is very key. You will see most successful endeavors, most things that people do and they plan to do, rather flights, tests, traveling to the moon, writing ICANN exams, there will be simulations, right? There will be a test of the actual system. Practice conditions, practice under exam conditions. This is where the MPT mock exams comes in. Many students have seen how this mock shakes them up, and that is why before we should do it like maybe a week before exams. But because of the feedback we've gotten over the years, this exam is now being held for the last 3, 4 days. The exam is usually held very early, at least like 3 weeks to the exams minimum. And you have that shock because trust me, you will get the shock. When you're studying on your own and you're practicing questions, you may spend 5 hours without knowing. You can even start and you've not even gone away, stop and continue later. But when you face the exams, you don't have that luxury. So you need to be able to simulate under that condition, under a time and a pressured condition. And the mock exam is a practical example. Try that, do it with yourself. Get a timer, set it, and start. Once that time is up, stop and assess yourself. Okay. Uh, Timed exams do that as well. Performance review. So once you've done that, you can also, do a self-assessment or get someone else to assess what you have done and give you feedback, like reasonable feedback on your practice. Okay. Common mistakes to avoid. What are those mistakes to avoid? We've mentioned some of them. Cramming. Please avoid cramming as much as possible. The ICANN exam does not test cramming. La cram, la pour. A very sure way to land in failure. So ICANN exam test understanding. So try as much as possible to avoid cramming. Ignore weak areas. Ignoring weak areas could be a very costly mistake. Like we mentioned earlier that you should focus on high yield subjects. Yes, but it doesn't mean that you should ignore some subjects that are not strong. And even in your own self, maybe your own is that you have the time, but your weakness is that you cannot sit down and study. So I have the time, I'm not even working, but once I sit down, the moment I carry book, and put in front of myself. Sleep carries me away. Those are things you need to work on. Okay. Skipping ask questions. Two. This point cannot be overemphasized. Do not skip past questions. Answer as many as possible. And confidence is good, but don't become too confident that you refuse to study. Some persons repeated failure of ICAN was because they wrote a subject previously and they just, failed and they could not understand. They say, oh, what? It's not the first time I've written PM before now. PM is really that not that much. It is the first time that it was doing it like this. Now that I've written it before, it's really nothing. If I just sit down next 3 weeks, 3 weeks to the exam, I will fire it. Just go on. It's only one subject. You know, all those things can bring confidence. I'm writing just one. I'm repeating it. I will do it. So overconfidence can also lead to failure. And I can confidence is good. We encourage it, but don't become too confident that you refuse to study or do the right thing. Okay. What are your action plan? Assess your last attempts. Look at what you did in the previous one. What actually went wrong? What I usually do, I had failure. I failed an ICAN exam, one of the paper. Okay, financial reporting to be precise. And when not just that, but when the result came out, I saw that I didn't pass. It was still fresh in my mind, right? It was still fresh. The way I did the exam. So I went there, look at the questions, look at the solutions that the examiner has provided. And I was like, okay, okay, is that it? This is the topic, and I wish I could show you the pictures of my next preparation. I prepared for CR. That's the FR is CR at the final level. I prepared for FR like never before. I read it. I understood it. It was the subject that I understood the most, and that was the subject that I failed. But because of that, that failure was more of like a feedback, and I studied it. And when the next attempt came, it was history. Okay, identify weak areas and strengthen them. Create new plan. If you have a plan that's not working, try to work on a new plan, and follow that. Also start early, even though at this time starting early might not mean what it's supposed to mean. But if you have not started, then now is the best time to start. We are barely a month to the exam, so you start now and ensure that you have your plan going daily and smoothly. Okay. Failure, like we mentioned, is a feedback. It is another time or an opportunity to learn and do it again. Okay, so it is simply a feedback that, oh, you did something wrong, you didn't do something right. If you look at failure this way in the world where we work today, you do not take it to maybe a superior person on the team and watch them succeed. You don't take it to maybe a superior person on the team and what they just look at it and tell you, okay, go and do this again. And you do that, you take it back to them as okay, at the end of the day, it's approved and it goes and becomes. It's just that you don't have the opportunity to do it in the hall and return it, but you can go do it again and return it. Persistency plus strategy gives you success. Be persistent, add it to a strategy that works, and you will definitely succeed. Okay, you can pass and you will. So it's not just that you can, you definitely will. Okay, change your strategy, the one that didn't work or the one that isn't working, change it, and you're definitely going to get a better result. Take action today. The time to exam is short, but you are definitely going to make it. Look, you will you will look back and say, I am a chartered accountant. And the benefit that comes with it, it will accrue to you. So put on that energy, that drive, and that tenacity. Okay? But before questions, Thank you very much, everyone, for the wonderful reactions. I have had a challenge with an ICAN paper. I looked at the result and I said, "What? Me?" And it happened. So, what, me? This course, you'll not believe it. I scored 28. 28. Even if it's just systems. But so it was
Hi guys, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so I think Kato is having a bit of an issue with his network. Um, I think he sort of has given a complete rundown of his presentation, right? So, a lot has been said in his presentation, or a lot was said in his presentation, right? I think one key thing that I was able to take as a takeaway from that presentation is persistency, right? Plus strategy is actually success. I mean, for people in this category where they have been making several attempts to pass the exam and have been having setback, one thing that you need to understand is the minute you stop, or the minute you stop being persistent, right? The minute you stop being persistent, the minute you allow your confidence to go down, right? I feel like it's going to be much difficult for you to even pass the ICAN exam. And I can tell you one thing, that every tutor you see in next page tutors, they all have history. I think Kato was trying to recount his story before his network um took him out, right? So everyone has a story. Myself, I have a story. Simeon and most of our tutors, we all have a story. And I would always see that ICANN would never put the number of attempts you try to pass your exam in your certificate. So if you write 5 times, good for me, I passed mine once. Another person might pass his own twice. Another person maybe the fifth attempt. The good thing is that in all of those attempts, ICANN would not write the number of times you fail there. So once you have that mindset, right? I know, of course, you are channeling your time, channeling your resource, and every other thing, right? You would have preferred want to write another exam. ICANN is one holding you down and all of that. It happens, but what makes your success more interesting is actually the story behind your success. And that's why you don't need to give up. Think of the bright side of doing all of this. The minute you have that certification, it opens doors. I can tell you for a fact. You that have mindset that, oh, you don't want to, Nigeria is even tiring, you need to fly out, you need to go to another country to make better living. You see that, especially when you're in this accounting field, you see that certificate. Once you have it, right, it opens the door to a lot of things. So please, let's keep pushing. Um, Take this as a motivation. Don't give up. It will come. It will come. That EC title, the designation EC, it will come, right? So let's just keep pushing, and let's not let's not relent in our effort. Okay. So I think at this point we are just going to give them for 1, 2 questions before we close the session. So please with thumbs up if you have a question. Okay. I think again, can you just do the thumbs up again? Sorry, I think I skipped. Yes, Wanchuku, can you unmute your mic and ask your question?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Wanchuku.
Uh, yeah, thank you so much. I actually dropped a message in the chat actually. But
Oh,
yes.
okay. So do you want to ask or should we just read it from the chat?
Oh, let me just ask. Anyways, it's
Okay.
concerning the study group. I actually joined in late. Let me say,
Oh,
last month was when I signed up with this platform. So,
okay. You're
but
welcome.
I believe the study group will really be of help to me, given how demanding my job is, and there's barely enough time for me to organize work and all that. So I would really appreciate it if I could be added to maybe any of the study groups that exist in the platform.
Okay, thank you very much, Nwachukwu. Again, you are welcome. Right, this is a very intentional center, and this thing you're pointing out, which is a study book, we have something of that nature, right? We have so formally we have a body session, sorry, a body group, right? Um, so it's like another time out of class where you tend to have some informal conversation with a tutor. So this is quite important because it gives you another opportunity to learn, try to speak to your tutor. There's some things maybe around preparation, even in terms of your reading strategy, right? All of that can happen in that conversation or in those conversations. So a plus to having those conversations again is that sometimes your body tutor even tend to have maybe a smaller group where you guys can even have other catch-ups, right? So that gives you opportunity to even interact with other students, right, in that group. So all of this happens in that group. So that's why this is like a carved out channel where you can sort of meet your tutor informally, meet other students informally, and you can learn off from each other basically. And I know sometimes informally people on the group also create some other type of study group where they say, oh, if I'm in Lagos, if you're in so state and you like to study, can we just meet at so location? I mean, that's not something that we are 100% committed to, right? But I mean, I know we are all I mean, we are students and of course we're expected to interact. So if you can even interact outside the group chat to further boost your reading and preparation, that's also fine, right? Insofar the goal is achieved. So things like that really happen. And of course we have the body session, which is one thing that we try to structure out from our classes to sort of meet and again learn from each other. I think Simeon is also, I don't know if you like to say one or two things on that too.
Yeah, thank you, Isaiah. I just
Yeah.
wanted to buttress the point that you've highlighted, especially regarding the study group bit. So the way it works is that if you're already on our platform, you can, you can use those platforms as a study group, especially the level group, right? I mean, a lot of students prefer to reach out to people in their DM for several reasons, right? But trust me, if you're solving a question, for example, or you have some questions to ask, the fastest way to get solution to your question and move on quickly is that take a snap of those questions and drop it on the group and say, please guys, how did they get all of these things and all? So you can use the level group as a platform for that to solve and answer a lot of your questions. It also means tutors can jump on it, even your fellow students that are already that have read the topic or that understand your question can also jump on it, and you can receive response within minutes, right? And like Isaiah highlighted, people also create groups or maybe have slide into DMs and catch up and start doing stuff together. The only thing is that, like Isaiah strongly pointed at, we do not support that officially. And of course, the reason we don't support that officially is because of the risk, right? Because the moment if you look at the nature of our environment, so one still need to be very careful. The people you're entering their DM or picking up conversation to say let's meet physically to read in a place and all of those. So there is a risk element in those, and that's why we do not support having to do that. So it means if you're creating a group, if you're sliding a DM and agree with anyone to meet to do physical reading or to do anything, even virtual as well, there's risk because before you know it, someone is telling you, oh, click this link so that we can use this link to track, or you never can tell. Those links can have other missions. So that's why we need to do that carefully. But at the same time, we are all adults and evaluate those things properly, right? And choose whatever you think is best for you. What I would recommend on a final note is that you actually use the platform as your study group. And then while you are joining the lectures and joining your body session, you can observe people who you have common ground. Say, for example, you're doing the same number of subjects, or you have similar problems, and you can connect, right? And chat for a while before you start going on a call to discuss topics and all. And that's probably the best way it works. And the moment a study group is already more than 3, 4, it's no longer effective. So because a study group should be very small, such that you're able to even jump on a WhatsApp call to discuss a particular subject, and that's it. And that's like an effective study group that can help in addition to the platform you are already. I think Kato also captured this in his presentation because a lot of people are also preparing for ICAN and they are not even in a platform like MPT at home, right? So those people, they even need to be in a platform that is structured, then extend it a bit more. I think that's basically what I have to add to that bit. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Simeon, for that. Yeah. So I think okay, just one form of confirmation. Okay, great. It seems like we don't have any other question. I mean, we can call this session to a close. So thank you so much, guys, for spending part of your evening with us. We really appreciate creating time to join this session, and we believe that we got one or two things from this session. Again, strategy plus persistence would always give you success. So please, again, this video or this session is going to be provided in our YouTube page. So try to access it. I mean, if you miss one or two things, you can go back, watch, gain tips, and of course, try to implement, which is the most important thing. So it's not about the hearing, it's about the doing. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.